Today we're talking about one of the most intelligent, lyrical, and underrated rappers to ever come out of Los Angeles. A man who represented Watts, California before it was fashionable. A rapper who stood alongside Ice Cube during Cube's legendary solo run. A rapper whose biggest hit wasn't about gangbanging or selling dope. It was actually about bringing peace to the streets. I'm talking about Cam. No, not East Coast Cam, not Cameron. I'm talking about Cam from Watts. And for a lot of younger hip-hop fans, Cam is one of those names they may have heard, but never really explored. When Cam came out, I remember that song, Peace Treaty. And to this day, it brings back great memories of my childhood, man. That song was so dope, and it was during a time where the streets needed this song. And even though I was kind of young at that time, I understood the importance of Cam and of that song, Peace Treaty. If you're around during the early 90s, when West Coast just exploded, took off, you know Cam was respected by just about everybody. His lyrics, they were deep. His delivery was unique. His voice stood out. And unlike many rappers of that era, he wasn't afraid to challenge listeners to think. Something I loved about him. He made you think. He made me look stuff up in the dictionary. He was one of those type of rappers. Do your history, little boy. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into Cam's entire story. We'll talk about him growing up in Watts. We'll talk about his connections with Ice Cube. We'll talk about his classic album, Never Again. We're going to talk about the meaning behind his hit song, Peace Treaty. And later on, we're going to discuss his very public fallout with Ice Cube, including how the beef started and how it finally came to an end. Long before he ever stepped into a recording studio, Cam was growing up in one of the most historic and rough neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Watts. Watts is one of those cities, ladies and gentlemen. I grew up in some rough neighborhoods myself, but Watts is one of those places you learned early on to stay out of if you didn't have any business there, if you didn't know someone there. I didn't really go to Watts unless, I rarely went to Watts when I was a kid for that reason, because I ain't know anybody in Watts, so I'm going to stay the fuck out of Watts. You ever heard that song? If you ain't from a certain place, stay out of certain, man, that was Watts. Now, if you follow this channel for an amount of time, you already know that Watts has produced an incredible amount of talent. I mean, we've talked about so many artists from Watts, not just musicians, but athletes, artists, community leaders, and unfortunately, some of the toughest street organizations in Southern California. Cam, he grew up surrounded by all of that. He saw poverty, he saw violence, he saw police tensions, and he experienced firsthand what life was like growing up in the 1970s and the 1980s. It was rough, ladies and gentlemen. And unlike some rappers who only rapped about what they saw, Cam wanted to explain why things were happening. That became one of the biggest differences between him and many other West Coast artists. And even though I was young, I understood that right away. I said, this guy's different. Instead of simply describing the problems, he tried to discuss the causes. His lyrics reflected politics. He's one of the earliest rappers to get me interested in politics, history, self-awareness, and black empowerment, which was really big at that time, ladies and gentlemen. There was a time when we were proud to be black, believe it or not. We didn't really call each other the N-word. We were proud. We wore African medallions. We wore naturals. And in the late 80s, early 90s, that was a time where that came back, and it was something that was hip. It was pop culture to rock Africa. I mean, Carl Kanai and Cross Colors, they were all putting Africa on. It was big. It was huge. And it was a great time. And that's something that Cam really grasped a hold of back then. Him and other artists like Paris from the Bay Area. But you know about Paris. I'm going to have to do a show on Paris because Paris is so underrated. West Coast has so many underrated rappers. It's a damn shame, man. But back to Cam. Before he was a recording artist, he was heavily influenced by reading, religion, and the teachings of the Nation of Islam. That's when I first kind of started hearing about the Nation of Islam and really understanding it more. And you heard those influences all throughout almost every song he ever made. At a time where gangster rap was dominating the radios, Cam was delivering messages that sounded more like speeches than party records. He challenged us to listen. He questioned authority. He talked about economics, history, culture, and survival, not just in Los Angeles, but in this white man's world. That didn't necessarily make him the easiest rapper to market, though, but it earned him tremendous respect. People knew Cam wasn't simply trying to sell records. He actually believed what he was saying. The authenticity became one of his greatest strengths. Now, here's where things really began to change for Cam. Cam happened to be related to another rapper who was changing the music industry at that time, a little artist you might have heard of before by the name of Ice Cube. And Cube had already shocked the world by leaving NWA. He had released America's Most Wanted classic, then Death Certificate classic. And suddenly he was one of the biggest solo artists in hip hop. Cube was building a new movement. And instead of depending on Ruthless Records, he was surrounding himself with talented artists from Los Angeles. Cam quickly became one of the most important members of that circle. You can hear him all on Ice Cube's projects. He was on tours with Ice Cube. He collaborated with them. Cube believed in Cam's lyrical ability. In fact, many people consider Cam one of the sharpest lyricists around. And that relationship would eventually lead Cam to getting his own record deal. Now, the first time a lot of you may have heard of Cam, I remember hearing his voice, but I didn't put two and two together until a year or so later. But one of Cam's earliest appearances that introduced him to a wider audience came through legendary Boys in the Hood, the soundtrack. And at that point, West Coast rap was exploding. The soundtrack featured some of the biggest names in hip-hop. It was a dope soundtrack. Cam's appearance helped establish him as more than just Ice Cube's cousin. He could hold it down. Fans immediately noticed his distinctive voice, his confidence, and his intelligent, I'm going to keep saying that word, intelligent lyricism. It was becoming obvious this guy was different. Then came 1993, and Cam released what many fans would consider his greatest work, Never Again, executive produced by Ice Cube. This album wasn't trying to sound like anyone. It wasn't trying to copy Compton. It wanted to be Watts. It sounded like Watts. The production blended G-Funk, political commentary, street stories, conscious rap. I mean, his songs discuss police brutality, racial inequality, community struggles. And many other rappers were chasing that radio hit, but Cam was like, I'm going to make people think. I'm going to make people think. And it became one of the most respected West Coast albums of that era. And then came my favorite song on that album, probably my favorite hip-hop song at that time, one of my favorites to this day, such a big song, the song called Peace Treaty. Now, this wasn't just another rap song, ladies and gentlemen. It documented one of the most important moments in Los Angeles history. After decades of B's and C's going at each other, countless people going to the grave. Representatives from both sides in Watts agreed to a historic truce in 1992. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it right now. It was such a big event. And the timing wasn't accidental. The Rodney King verdict, the LA riots, years of police whooping dudes' butts. Communities were tired. People wanted something different. And Cam captured that feeling perfectly with that song. He celebrated unity. The song became one of the few major rap records that openly promoted peace instead of retaliation. It reached the top 5 on Billboard rap charts, which is pretty damn good, and it introduced Cam to an entirely new audience. Peace Treaty is one of those songs that gets me excited about hip-hop and talking about this again. Man. Later on, the beef with Ice Cube happened. Let's talk about that because that was probably one of the most surprising chapters in Cam's career. His fallout with Ice Cube. Considering how close they once were, most fans couldn't believe these two were actually beefing. So what happened? According to Cam, over the years, the problems didn't begin because of one major incident. Instead, he says misunderstandings, business disagreements, could have called that one. And people around both camps slowly drove a wedge between them. And that happens in the music industry. Communication breaks down, rumors start to spread, egos get involved, money starts looking a little funny, and eventually the relationship completely fell apart. Cam believed Cube had always allowed other people to influence the situation instead of speaking to him directly. Cube had his own perspective. Whatever the cause was, the friendship was over. Like many rap feuds during the 90s, the disagreement eventually made it onto wax. And I, as a hip-hop fan, and once again, I'm not a fan of many things, but I am a fan and I love hip-hop. Eventually, it made it onto wax, and Cam recorded diss records aimed directly at Ice Cube. One of the best known was Pull Your Hoe Card. The lyrics accused Cube of changing, becoming commercial, and forgetting the people around him. I also remember him claiming that Cube stole the W from him, the West idea. He even had a lyric in one of his songs. That W you took from me, yeah, that stand for Watts. Y'all remember that song, whoop, whoop. Cam wasn't holding anything back in that song, whoop, whoop. By this point, fans wondered if this was going to become another legendary West Coast rap war. Fortunately, it didn't. According to Cam himself, Minister Louis Farrakhan actually stepped in, and he invited both men to his home. And instead of continuing to exchange diss records, they sat down face to face. They talked. They aired their grievances, and eventually they reached an understanding. Cam has said they were able to squash the beef peacefully. And that's something you don't often hear in hip-hop, especially during the 90s. But real talk, looking back today, most rap fans are glad it ended that way. Cam, he never reached the commercial success of artists like Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, or Dr. Dre. But he continued making music. He released additional albums, and he appeared on various projects. And he remained respected throughout the underground hip-hop community. I have seen him a lot on social media lately. I do believe he does a podcast, some sort of YouTube, something. I got to check that out. I know he was for a minute. I don't know if he still is, but if he is, go check him out and support him. I do remember watching some of his videos, and he was saying some pretty controversial stuff. YouTube doesn't like controversy. Maybe, I don't know if he lasted too long on YouTube, to be honest. But I'm sure he'll figure a way to get his message out. Go stream that album, too. If you're a fan of West Coast hip-hop, if you love West Coast hip-hop like I do, oh, man, go check out that Never Again album. Check out that Peace Treaty song if you've never heard that song. If you're a West Coast fan and you hip-hop fan, period, and you've never heard Cam's Peace Treaty, I encourage all of you to go check that out. It is a classic, and it is one of those songs that's going to be around forever. Shout out to Cam, and thank you for your contribution to West Coast hip-hop. Thank you for tuning in to Dusty Vision TV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now.
But on a more positive note, a ceasefire in the city's gang warfare still seems to be on. Ron Allen reports.
Since the truce among thousands of warring Crips and Bloods gang members declared as Los Angeles smoldered, most police have remained suspicious and openly skeptical that the daily gang killings would stop. But today, the deputy chief responsible for the city's most gang-infested neighborhood said he believes the truce is not only real, but holding.
A bunch of Crips and Bloods decided to come together. And they said, you know what? We're tired of this, man. At that point, ladies and gentlemen, I believe it was 91 or 92, LA had upwards of 2,500 bodies. 2,500 people had lost their lives in Los Angeles at that time. And guess who it was? It wasn't a lot of Asians. It wasn't a lot of white folk. The majority of it was black.
Drive-by shootings, there are fewer of them than there has been in the past, and there are fewer homicides that are gang-related. But there is reason to be optimistic. However, that doesn't mean that we believe that everything is going to be 100%.
92, the streets, the OGs, they were like, yo, this is getting out of hand. This is a perfect opportunity to reel this thing in and make something positive out of it.
Gathered for a picnic celebrating their post-riot truce. In the past, the mere sight of a rival gang's colors, red for Bloods, blue for Crips, could trigger deadly violence. Police say there are more than 100,000 gang members in Los Angeles County.
Yeah, my name is Anthony. How's everyone, everybody out there in the world? Yeah, we just, we're really on a positive tip now, you know what I'm saying? We've been doing wrong for so long, it's time to do right, And we just want everybody out there to know, you know what I'm saying? Just come down, give us your support, all the brothers and sisters out there, just come down, like Sunday. Come to the park, you know what I'm saying, on 51st and Avalon, and check us out for yourself. You can see everything you want to see, you know what I'm saying? And if this, if this gonna really go somewhere, we need support from not just, a black way. We need support from all races, you know what I'm saying? Right. We want to do something, and then just give us a chance. That's all. We just want a chance. That's all.
Unfortunately, it was short-lived, but it happened. Against all odds, it happened. Against all the negative reaction it got on the news, it happened. Such a beautiful thing.
Hello world, everybody, homies out there, even the homies we got incarcerated, that's looking from the inside out here. This is what's happening out here, man. We're not joking, we're not jiving. Y'all know that coming straight from the heart. Look who's standing here. Look what's been going on out here. I was like to open it saying, we, as the Bloods and the Crips, have joined together without any problems from the police, the media, and the Bloods as Crips as one. We'll be able to give back to the parks, recreation, and the rest of the community can live without, so that the community can live without fear. We would like to go to speak to schools, parks, to the whole community, businesses, and everybody, to let them know, let our younger generation know that we're coming together to lead those who would have been going astray, and we're going to lead them now to the right direction. We want to have peace in the black community, not only in gangs, but the whole community. We would clean up the trash and the graffiti in the community. We prove to the media, the police, and everyone else that we are not an outcast and we are not out to do no wrong.
Right.
We need more education, more career training, so that we can get more blacks jobs to make a living without dealing drugs and stealing.
But the cops didn't want it to happen. The courts didn't want it to happen. The prisons definitely didn't want it to happen. Why is that? Well, if we're not out there taking each other's lives, that means they're out of a job. Uh-oh, we got to cut the police force. They're not out there gangbanging anymore. That's what would have happened. People at the courts would have lost their jobs because, damn, man, crime is down. So they didn't want any of that to happen. And let's keep it real. Like, that's about as real as it gets. Job security. They knew if the red and blue stopped going back and forth, then they might be out of a job. So by many accounts, things were done behind the scenes to make sure this thing didn't last. And unfortunately, it didn't last. Shame. It's a damn shame, because it's a beautiful thing.
Number one, I have come here in acknowledgement that you're probably looking at some of the most organized and influential leaders of our community.
Yes.
They have proven that. Every one of you, even you in the media, without their assurance that you'd be all right here today, a lot of you wouldn't have been here. But they are some of the most organized, and they have our young people, they have our community, and we have to acknowledge that. Number two, I have come to say that I believe in them. And they have my support. And my support means something. And it means something in this community. It means something to our churches and our political community.
Wars in Los Angeles claim hundreds of lives every year. Many of the victims are innocent bystanders. But as Ron Allen reports, the Rodney King verdict may change things.
There's talk of a truce in a war some thought might never end. LA's warring gangs, Bloods and Crips, some 100,000 strong, may turn their anger about the Rodney King verdict into peace.
If it don't happen now, it ain't gonna never happen.
The message rose through the smoke and flames, gang graffiti never seen before, a plea, a call for unity.
The riots helped because we realized that we now have a common enemy. For those brothers and sisters that were into it, right, that were into the gang conflicts and couldn't see a common enemy, now do.
Little Monster, a Crip leader, says he was there when the corner of Florence and Normandy erupted, a riot that he says also ignited a movement.
So you come together and what do? I mean, what's it about? What's the goal? What's the mission?
Empowering our community. That's what it's all about.
Some people think it's about violence.
No, it's not about violence.
There's been a lot of talk about trying to get some cops.
You know what? Whenever black folks get together, it's always something violent.
Hundreds of young people die each year. So is this the start of a street-level movement of well-armed, well-organized gang members, or just a fragile peace rooted in rage?
The King verdict laid down a revolution in the streets. Okay, the revolution is not over. The revolution won't be over until we get a reformation of the American government. Break it up, break it down, and do it right.
It's a possibility no one can ignore.
Banging on wax offers the gang members an outlet for their anger. News' Amy Powell has the story.
They are members of two of LA's most notorious gangs. Red is the color identified with the Bloods. The Crips wear blue. 16 gang members have put aside their weapons and their differences and united as rappers.
Getting Bloods and Crips in the room and they don't know what's going on is hard until you sit down and talk to them like men and they can understand what it's all about. And I think the whole thing was respect. I think if you give respect, they'll give you respect.
we're trying to show them that we can come together, make a record, and show positive issues, and at the same time prove that we have talents other than just pulling triggers and doing whatever, selling drugs.
Producer Ronnie Phillips says he wanted to give the gang members an opportunity to do something positive.
I mean, I don't look at them as being Bloods or Crips. I look at them as being my brother. Once we understood that, we started a relationship. And once you start a relationship, then you can work together. Then you become business partners. Then you can grow, become producers, actors, whatever. Because there's a lot of talent in the streets and people overlook that.
When this project started, some of these gang members didn't even want to be in the same room together. Now they've formed lasting relationships. Bangin' on Wax will be released next week.
The Bloods and the Crips got together and they created a project that is classic to this day.
Bangin' on Wax was the vision of producer Ronnie Phillips.
My whole philosophy was to stop the brothers from killing each other, because right now there is no way out. Only way out is either give them better jobs, but that's not happening. Nobody's working at Mickey D's nowadays, because these guys make more money than I do in a week just on the street. So my thing was to come up with a record. These guys can make some money and can better their lives.
Phillips gathered gang members from different parts of Los Angeles. His goal, to reach the kids.
The ones I'm really worried about is the BJs, the baby gangsters. And once they realize, hey man, instead of me picking up my 9 to shoot you, I'd rather pick up an ink pen and write a diss rhyme. You know, that's basically what it's all about.
The raps are hard and violent, but the Bloods told me rapping is a safer way to seek revenge. Keep those lines of communication open. Bangin' on Wax will be an ongoing project. Ronnie Phillips plans on producing an additional 3 albums with different gang members from different areas. Both gangs say they will invest the money they make from Bangin' on Wax into their community.
Pyru Love, Steady Dippin', still bump them to this day. Classics. But the Crips and the Bloods, something that people thought would never happen. Musically, especially, they got together and they released a project. One side was blue, one side was red.
Bangin' on Wax is an album containing the redirected energies of members of the Bloods and the Crips, 2 violent rival Los Angeles gangs. The idea was to have the gang members deal with their differences verbally instead of physically and create some honest income at the same time.
Everybody bumped that tape. Everybody bumped it. Shit, Crips were bumping Pyru Love. Bloods were bumping Steady Dippin'. It's a great time, and it's a great thing that happened to hip-hop.
Able to get the frustrations out on a record, and take for instance, we shot the video shoot. I had over 220 different Bloods and Crips from all over. I mean, I didn't know half the guys, but they came there, no violence. I mean, it was a little confrontations, but when everybody understood, hey man, we're here to make records. We're not here to fight and kill each other. We're here to make records. It was cool. I'm getting letters from teachers all across the country. They're planted in schools. I'm getting letters from kids calling me, sending me letters. They want to, I mean, it's been great. 2 or 3
other projects spawned off of the Bangin' on Wax project. You know, you had Damu Riders later on. That was my shit. Damu Riders. R.I.P. to B Brazy, man. B Brazy, that dude, he would have been one of the biggest rappers ever. He would have been one of the biggest rappers ever. Just globally. But Destiny had another plan for B Brazy. R.I.P. Thank you for the good music you put out while you were here.
These gang members feel positive momentum building.
Because the simple fact the album is so positive, you know, people can't see anything negative, you know. A lot of people get killed on tape, but nobody get hurt.
Whenever black people get together doing something, you know what I'm saying, together, it's a positive thing, you know what I'm saying, whether it may be sports, rap, or whatever it may be.
And some have decided to discard their masks.
We're taking the flags off our face, you know what I'm saying, so people can see us, you know what I'm saying, and understand some of the things we're trying to do, you know what I'm saying. It's not glorifying gangs, you know what I'm saying, but that's what we are.
Fast forward 30 plus years, we're still getting our butts whizzed by the cops. It's still happening. And then what? We go out and have another uprising like we did in Minnesota a couple years ago. Nothing happens. Look, all we can do is be positive and hopefully study the past so we don't make the same mistakes in the future.
Now these bitter rivals are uniting for a common cause called Bangin' on Wax. CNN's Gloria Hillard reports.
turf staked out by scrawls on the walls, there's a confrontation. Members of Los Angeles' most notorious gangs, the Bloods and the Crips, meet for the cameras. On the mean streets home to gang banging, they've turned bullets into a war of words, a rap record recorded by 16 members of the two rival gangs.
Here's a chance to do something I like to do, which is rap, and make some money at the same time, and then it'll keep me out of jail, you know what I'm saying?
They were brought together by record producer Ronnie Phillips.
I want to say 2 weeks of actual treaty time, because I wind up going to a party and wind up I'm in there partying. Next thing I know, I'm DJing it.
Tell me about that, dog, because that's for anyone who doesn't know, that was a very pivotal moment in Los Angeles history. It was very brief, unfortunately, but when it started in Watts, when the Crips and Bloods united, right around the time, because we had Natasha Harlins, we had Rodney King, we had the riots, we were just done with all the killing and all the bullshit. Not to mention homicides of upwards of 2,000 homicides in LA alone, and you're there DJing a party at a gang truce. Talk to me about that day.
Man. So we over in the 40 neighborhood, and I used to kick it over there a lot. So we go to the party, and it was crazy. They was charging $4 to get in. Party was on Vernon, right next door to Normandy Elementary. And we go in there, and homie, he really didn't charge us. He was a homie. It was the hood. So we up in there, and I can't remember who was DJing, but he was garbage. And somebody said, we need a DJ. There, DJ? There. I said, man, I'm here to party. Homie came out with $100. He said, come on, homie. So I get on the turntables, man. There was Avalons was up in there. There was the 40s that threw the party. But the Avalons was up in there. The Black P-Stones from the Jungles was there. The 30s was there. Some Hoovers was there, man. And it was like, I'm tripping out because I'm DJing and everybody in there is chill from different neighborhoods. And it was so crazy that I remember when we was leaving, I go outside and I see these fools fighting, but nobody stopping them. Come to find out, now these dudes is in 40 neighborhood. Dude was bleeding. He was on my car. I said, man, get off my car, homie. And they was like, my bad, homie, my bad. So they grabbed the dude. These are dudes that just beat him up. Come to find out, these dudes from Avalon just put this dude on Avalon in 40 neighborhood. And I'm scratching my head and I'm laughing. And the people I'm with, they're like, what's so funny? I said, y'all realize that this dude just got put on his hood in another hood. He's from Avalon, but he got put on Avalon in 40s. And they was like, huh? And we just all laughed and shook our head and took off, But yeah, it was great. That was one of the peace treaty parties, and I went to another one. I did another one in Watts, and somebody just called me at the last minute. Said, "Man, I need a DJ for the night." I said, "I got you." I shoot over there, and I'm hungry, so I go to a little burger spot across from the Nicholson, and I'm in all blue, back turn. All I heard was, "What's up, blood?" And I'm like, ooh.
Damn.
I looked down at my feet, and I turned around. I said, "What's up, homie?" They said, "Where you from, homie?" I said, "I'm from all over here." They said, "It's all good. You look like you a Crip." I said, "I just wear blue." They said, "It's all good, blood. What you getting to eat? We got you." They brought my food for me, and I said, "Man, I'm deep in a party." And they said, I forgot what street it was on. I think it was on Success. They said, so-and-so, so-and-so. I said, I don't know. Over here on Success, this thing was actually, yeah. Oh, blood, we be through there. We coming through there. Man, I went over there. The grapes, it was grapes and bounty hunters. Some of Compton was there. Man, the Monas, the Carvers, some Hoovers, man, some Anthony Parks was over there. Some of everything over there. The party I did, I didn't know it was a hood party. And they was like, okay, it's supposed to be till 2:00, man. 2 o'clock. It looked like more people was there than when it started at 9. They said, "Oh, you can't leave." I said, "Huh?" No, I said, "Man, I need a 2 o'clock to come money. We go $2 more $100. How long?" I said, "Okay, we good to go." Kept it going. And I had to DJ that one by myself. My boy helped me take all my equipment over there. I had to, naturally I'm gonna break him off. But yeah, we didn't leave that spot till like 4:30 in the morning. Man.
Damn.
And I was just like tripping because I'm like, the one's gonna come through here and shut it down. No, I wasn't no problems or nothing. So yeah, man, that was that was a great time, man. That was a great time.
So the riots hit. We burn it down. Everybody's broke. Nobody has a plan. But the gang truce comes out of that. For a small time, Crips and Bloods in this city was getting down. Shout out to DJ Battle Cat.
He was
being
there.
intricately involved with that Banging on Wax
yes, sir.
project. Now, Young James is watching all of this, trying to get a security guard job. Parents is saying, you better do something. You better get out of here. I'm telling my parents, the city is dead. Y'all didn't have my back on the basketball. Y'all didn't have my back on the music. Fuck y'all. I turned into a complete rebel. I turned into one of those little niggas that you just want to get out the house. But I didn't break the law. That was I kept looking for jobs, but the city was in shambles. And that's the picture I try to paint for the youngsters. Y'all never, as a generation, just burned the city down. I watched these OG niggas, the generation above me. I watched these niggas say collectively, enough is enough. Fuck that. The problem is we weren't very smart about it. And the police just let us do it. As long as we didn't cross Wilshire,
facts.
They didn't do nothing. So it turned out to be a bit of a double-edged sword, youngsters, and then to the youngsters in hip-hop specifically, because y'all are our kids. We was out there fucking and sucking and trying to flirt with your mamas at the concerts at the Dog Pound and Dr. Dre and them was throwing. We wasn't millionaires. We was out there parking lot pimping with y'all's aunties and shit. And we ain't had no money. We was all broke. All of us. So we fast forward 20 years and the youngsters is trying to get it and they 10 times smarter than us because they didn't seen us fuck everything up. They saw us make every possible wrong decision we could make. So they wasn't going for it. So I understand, but I would also ask for the youngsters to kind of go back and paint the picture of the desolate situation that was South Central LA in the 90s because of much of what you see now. If we get killed in the street, not a lot of people care.
Yeah.
So they rolled for us. The gangsters, the hood niggas, the drug dealers. There was women out there talking about y'all not just gonna do us like this. The problem with that is nobody rebuilt it, so we had to raise our kids in it, and that would set the stage for homelessness for young James in his 20s.
Last night on our live show, we discussed the P. Diddy situation. I'm going to play a clip, and I'm going to stop it every once in a while and give you my thoughts.
I was reading the post earlier. 50 Cent said something I totally agree with. And when the feds come knocking on your door, they already got a case.
Done deal. Feds come knocking at your door, it's a done deal, baby.
Then the feds come knocking, it's pretty much a done deal. They have like a 98, 95%. I don't know what their percentage. I know it's high.
Very high.
Very high percentage of conviction. So the feds come knocking. They start spending federal money, start investigating. Yeah, Negro, you better start getting your affairs in order. My understanding, Antigua has no extradition agreement with America. So that means he can post them over there and watch this whole thing unfold and may never come back. Sound like some Russell Simmons.
I was he took the words right out of my mouth. Has he even came back to America? He's still.
Y'all know about Russell Simmons, right? If you don't know about the Russell Simmons situation, go down that rabbit hole. I don't think bro has came back to the country since those allegations.
overseas, right?
I think he dipped in. He may dip in. He never got charged, to my knowledge. He's been accused, but he's never been charged. So before they hit him with the 1-2 punch, he stepped off into the into the island and started chanting.
They leave because they know they are wrong. And look, Russell Simmons is a legend in the music business. Diddy is a legend in the music business. But these guys know what they did, and that's why they left the country. Allegedly.
And something else. Actually, I want to play this clip. This interview with Howard Stern has since gone viral. It is an interview with Usher from about 7 years ago, 7-8 years ago, where Usher was talking about his experiences with Puff Daddy. When he was a teenager. So I'm going to play this. It's about a minute, 10 seconds or something like that. Then I want to get your reaction on it. This is Usher on the Howard Stern Show from August 22nd, 2016.
Shout out to Howard Stern. First of all, radio legend. One of the reasons I started doing this. But here's Usher on Howard Stern.
I moved to New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
He was 13 and he lived with Puffy for a year. We'll start there. Keep going, Usher.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah, that's what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s.
Flavor Camp. That's pretty weird. 13. And where's his parents? Anyway, let's keep going. Usher on Howard Stern Show.
Hey, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was
What lifestyle? What lifestyle, Usher? Let's keep going.
But I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
So Usher was 13 and had a lot of women around him who I'm sure were taking advantage of him at that time. But let's keep it pushing. Usher on Howard Stern.
And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie was there.
Lil Kim. Craig Mack.
All these people.
Here comes the brand new flavor in your ear. Is that what that song was really about? Huh? Time for new flavor in your ear? Huh?
They're hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans. Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They ain't know nothing about this shit.
See, that's strike one right there. How does his parents not know about this? How is he so far removed from his parents at that age that they don't know about what's going on? And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the problem. The parents. It's not Diddy's fault. Diddy's a piece of trash, allegedly, if he did what he did. How the heck is this 13-year-old boy so far removed from his parents? If my son was in the music business there at 13, there's no way he would be that far removed from me. And that's why they try to keep you away from your parents. That's why they try to keep the parents away. You've heard stories, you've seen movies about, kids getting strayed from their parents. And dude, the parents are getting pushed out so they can do what they want to do, allegedly, with these young artists.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
what
like
a life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
See?
He said, hell to the no. I would never let my kid go to a Puffy camp. And this is before all the allegations came out. This is 7 years ago, people, 2016. So 7-8 years ago. Would you let your kid, as a father, Usher, go to a Puffy camp? Hell no. Well, let's get my man, my dude, my homeboy, my mentor, my co-host. Let's get Alonzo Williams' opinion on Usher on Howard Stern back in 2016.
He said, hell no. Talk to me, Alonzo, when you hear Usher talk about that 7 years ago.
when you hear him talking about it, he definitely. I'm willing to bet he has some interesting experiences with some interesting people. He can't speak on it because somebody could go to jail.
Yep.
Okay. He was 13 years old. Somebody can get a reverse case, Bill Cosby, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
At 13 years old, if he was a girl, there will be some cases. It will be some charges filed right now.
Y'all hear that? That's probably the deepest line of this whole thing. If you were a 13-year-old girl going to these parties, we would be having a different story right now. But since it was a boy, these things got pushed under the rug. Let's keep it pushing.
Somebody would be filing some charges.
Come on, of course.
Because he's a guy, we're going to laugh this off. It's no big deal. He has a ton of experiences. He got to sleep with some older women. He learned some things he shouldn't have learned right away. But hey, he's an usher. What the hell? I remember seeing a documentary on what's her name, Drew Barrymore. She was like 9-10 years old, being at Studio 54.
Yep. You know about Drew Barrymore, famous actress, Charlie's Angels, E.T. She was in Hollywood back in the 80s and 90s. She was going to Studio 54 at age 9 and 10. No telling what she was seeing.
Hanging out. 9-10 years old. I mean, she was young. Right after Firestarter and shit, man. It's amazing what people will let the kids do.
Going back to that double standard you talked about earlier, Lonzo, how if Usher was a 13-year-old girl, it would be a different story. That's in real life also, not just in Hollywood. I mean, I was 16 having sex with 19, 20, 21-year-old women.
Yeah.
I was just a player. It was just what it was. But yeah, but it would be different if I was a 16-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you?
And that's the truth. I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I'm not, lying. None of that. When I was 15, 16, I was getting hit on by 19, 20, 21-year-olds. I was getting advanced upon. Look, I'm 15, 16. I don't have enough balls to walk up to a 20-year-old girl and be like, hey, let me get your number. I wasn't that player. For the most part, it was them coming on to me. So this happens. Now, if I was a 16-year-old chick, be a different story, huh?
Yeah.
Why do you think there's a double standard in America? Like, boys aren't as important as girls are when it comes to that.
I don't think it's a matter of importance. I think because the male, being a male, you are considered a sexual aggressor. And if you can aggressively talk upon a grown woman to roll in the hay with you, then more power to you. Whereas women, they seem to be a little bit more demure, submissive, and they can be bullied. People feel they can be bullied into doing things. So that's why I think women tend to get a pass or be people more responsive to a woman being sexually abused by an older man, because you might feel bullied, intimidated, threatened, whereas a 16-year-old kid, if he rolled up on a 16-year-old woman that's a little older than him, shit, everybody happy. She can teach him how to break her back, and he can have something to talk about for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And the funny part is, Lonzo, even looking back, I wasn't even the pursuer. It was the older woman that was coming at me.
Facts. I was 15, 16-year-old getting pursued by older women. It just was what it was. Oh, man, I have stories for you guys. I'm going to try to tell some stories sometime where it's not going to break any YouTube rules, because these get explicit in some of the terminology that are in these stories. I'll figure a way to tell you some of these stories in the future.
Which is so interesting.
Yeah. I've seen it recently, man. One of my buddies hang out not long ago, and women was checking on his 16-year-old son. Hey, he ain't but 16. Okay, he ain't ready for what you got. He ain't ready for them stretch marks yet. He ain't ready for that.
He ain't ready.
No, don't do it like that. Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious. It did give me a thing, though. I will tell you that I've always loved older women since then. And even the older my wife gets, I tell her she just gets more sexier to me. She's 46 right now. She's never been sexier to me. You know what I'm saying? She's sexier to me now.
Hey. Some things do get better with time, man. And
that is true. The older my wife gets, the more I want to bang the F out of her. Like we've we've been having a lot of marital, what do they call it? Because I'm trying not to use the sex word. I'll just spell it out because YouTube hates that word. But the older my wife gets, the more I just want to bang her. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Am I the only one? Comment down below. The only one who likes older women, kind of like fine wine. I don't know. Give me like a chick in her late 40s, early 50s. I'm in heaven. Forget that little 19-year-old, 20-year-old who doesn't have, like, oh my God, can you Uber me to your house? Man, F all that. Give me a 51-year-old grandma, stretch marks, who walks with a limp because she got shot back in the, like, give me something like that's what I need.
Well, before we close it out, Puff Daddy's attorney team just released a statement, I'd say within the past hour and a half, just before we started the show. But I'm going to read it off to you, and let's see what we come up with at the end. But here's their Puffy's attorney team. Yesterday, there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residence. There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. Mr. Combs was never detained, but spoke to and cooperated.
I read good, don't I? That boy can read, can't he? Damn, listen to me over there. Listen to me.
Operated with authorities.
Some of you motherfuckers can't read for shit, and it shows in your text messages and your comment section. Like 90% of the people comment in my comment section. Y'all need to go back to school or something, but let's keep it going. This is Puff Daddy's attorney telling us, that what happened was excessive and all that.
Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way. The unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced, coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. Last sentence, there has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. Has his name already been tarnished bad enough, Lonzo? Do you think he'll ever come back from this?
It's really hard to come back from these type of accusations. Really hard. Even if you are innocent. Even if you were, let's not say innocent, even if you were never charged, it is still very hard to come back from these accusations. Look at Michael Jackson. Michael was never charged. And to this day, I think Michael was doing stuff with kids. And so do most of you listening. No matter how much you try to protect them, and no matter how much you love playing man in the mirror, dude, most of us, unfortunately, up until Michael's passing, we suspected that Michael was doing some stuff that he shouldn't have been doing. Let's just keep it real.
Really hard to come back from something like this.
Let me see here. He had to step off from Revolt. He had to step off from his vodka. He ain't nobody really messing with him. He losing all the invitations to the parties. Ain't nobody want to go to his parties.
He ain't getting invited to no more.
Ain't nobody going to the parties. Puppy, I can't mess with you, bro. He can't give a birthday party. He can't give a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, okay?
So yeah, that's about it. If you want to check out the full interview, subscribe to NWA Stories with Lonzo Williams on YouTube. We do it every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on NWA Stories with Lonzo Williams. And please do join that channel if you enjoy old school West Coast hip hop. Specifically, Lonzo Williams is a pioneer, and we dive deep into the true story of West Coast hip hop, and we also touch on a lot of topics as well. So definitely check them out. Also, please download the Rumble app. Rumble. I'm gonna keep asking you guys over and over to do this every show, so you can get tired of it if you want. Go ahead, download the Rumble app, and please subscribe to Dusty Vision Radio on the Rumble app. The Rumble app is an uncensored version of YouTube, basically. That's the easiest way to put it. Like, YouTube be tripping sometime with their censorship guidelines and all that. You want the uncensored version, go over to Rumble and subscribe to Dusty Vision Radio. Also, subscribe to my second channel, Dusty Vision Radio, right here on YouTube, just in case anything funky goes down with this one. Go subscribe to my other channel, Dusty Vision Radio. I post something there every single day. So please do check out my second channel, Dusty Vision Radio. I'm at 2,500 subscribers right now. Let's try to get that bad boy to 3,000. Let's keep it pushing. I appreciate each and every one of you. Also, I'm on Facebook at DustyVisionTV. I have a group with over 10,000 people in it, and I post stuff in there. Gets a little controversial. You know, Facebook kicks me off every once in a while, but whatever. Go to DustyVisionTV on Facebook. And if you're on Instagram, I know this is a lot of information, guys, but if you're a true supporter, Instagram, Dusty Vision Radio. And if you want to send me a super thanks, send your boy a few dollars. There's a little $sign right in front of you on your screen that says super thanks, or super chat if you're listening live. Throw your boy a few dollars. I'd really appreciate it. We'll continue to follow this Puff Daddy situation, this P. Diddy situation on my channel, so please do stay tuned. One more time, hit that like button, and if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.